I know I'm not the only one. There are so many days where I find myself glued to my computer playing a game when I know exactly what I should be doing. It can be so hard to stop because there's just something so addicting about video games. This made me curious. What exactly is it that makes video games so addicting? Just like television, movies, or sports, video games are a distraction from everyday life, and just like those other things, they can be a distraction from negative emotions, which can be very therapeutic. Many aspects of video games stimulate the brain in such a way that it will cause the brain to release dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that our bodies make that makes us feel good. It is instinctual to chase that good feeling, and video games are a really easy way to find it. When someone is playing a video game and they are actively having fun, glued to their seat, grin on their face, their brain is releasing a flow of dopamine to their nerve cells. When playing a video game becomes routine, just like drugs, the body becomes tolerant to the dopamine flow from video games. This is the work of homeostasis. This natural function of the body wants to keep all elements of the body in a state of equilibrium, which in turn will numb the effects of the dopamine. Another reason that video games can be so addictive is because they exploit this function of the mind called the triumph circuit. The triumph circuit rewards a person for overcoming a challenge or facing adversity. For example, an ancient human living with his tribe in the jungle had two options when it came to gathering food. They could either stay close to the tribe and pick up a few berries here and there, or they could venture deep into the jungle into dangerous territory for the possibility of scoring big and coming back with a kill for their whole tribe to eat. So what video games will often do is present the player with a challenge, and when that player overcomes that challenge, their triumph circuit activates and they get a rush of positive emotions. One thing to note is that unlike venturing into the jungle where one could be killed by a tiger, video games are meant to be beaten. They are designed in such a way where it feels like a massive accomplishment, even though most games are designed to be beaten by most people. This raises the question, how are video games designed to be addicting? The most important aspect of a video game that is addicting is that it is fun. Humans have an innate desire to learn and soak up new information, and when we do so, we have fun. A well-designed video game will present the player with patterns that the player will passively study in their mind. As the player progresses through a video game, the game will progressively get more and more difficult. This is because as games get more difficult, the player has to absorb more and new patterns and learn from their mistakes. All of this contributes to the amount of fun someone is having in a video game. So what are the important aspects of a game that is fun? When designing games, game designers rely on three basic pillars: player, communication, and appeal. How does the player interact with the world? This is what separates video games from movies. You turn on a movie and it does everything by itself, but when you turn on a video game, it's up to you what happens in that game. Communication. How does the game communicate to the player what they should be doing? A good game should guide the player in the right direction to progress through the game using visual or audio cues. And appeal, or what makes the game interesting. For Minecraft, the appeal is the vast open world and being able to do whatever you want. For Hollow Knight, it's about exploring this vast, abandoned underground kingdom and uncovering all of its secrets. And for Doom Eternal, it's the fast-paced action and guns a-blazing style of gameplay. Game director of Doom Eternal, Hugo Martin, explains how to optimize a player's experience by trapping them into the fun zone.
We really went through and we tried to shore that up, to make it, to hold the player accountable, to not let them out of the fun zone. You know, the fun zone is managing resources. It's doing all these different things. It's thinking constantly. It's using the right tool for the job. It's diving into progression. You know, it's what you'll see, shooting weak points of enemies, you know, all these different things. And when they don't play that way, we kill them.
What Hugo is saying, for those of you that don't play video games, is that he designed Doom Eternal to reward the player for having more fun. The game makes you play in such a way that is more fun, which keeps players playing for even longer. All of these things, the fun zone, the 3 pillars of game design, soaking in new information and learning from mistakes, being rewarded for overcoming challenges, and a constant flow of dopamine. If I had to put my money on it, that's probably why video games are so addicting.